Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast2Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
I'll tell you, we're live, but I can see that you guys aren't hearing the sound, and well, that is no bueno. We're gonna go in here, see if we can figure this out here. And well, now we've got that going on. Let's see here if Shaggy can do one more thing, because I'm hearing it through something else. Okay, that was really weird. Not sure why iRacing decided to do that. My apologies. Sounds all good. I ran 3 broadcasts last night. Haven't changed a thing since then, but man, we're here. We're live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network. iRacing full of hiccups tonight. Sorry for the late delay. They had already pre-made the session, and well, when we all went to join it, iRacing made it disappear. Did a little magic act, so our man in that 513, Jeffrey Barker, came to the rescue, made another session, and all is right in the iRacing world. And we're set to bring you some racing, and we wouldn't be here without Flatline Racing Bodies. Huge shout out to them for picking up the sponsor this year for Hometown Heroes. Flatline Racing Bodies, an integral part of the Coast2Coast Racing League, and definitely wouldn't have the success that this league has without guys like that stepping up. Dan Chapman over there, but Blake Chapman pretty close here in the points. Now, I say pretty close because he's run 2 less races here. He's at 664. Brian Moore Sr., your points leader, at 705. When we do the drop weeks, going to get pretty close here. So, not too sure what that's going to look like, and we roll into next week. That's championship week, but have to keep your eye out on that. That's for sure. And even closer battle there in the 410s. Blake's only 12 points down on Brian Moore Sr., but those two stealing the show here in the Hometown Heroes division this year. It's been fun to watch as the kid rolls around. Let's see here. Let's see. Take a look at old... Wearing the rowdy helmet is the salesman here. Bouncing all around in that thing. Blake Chapman, definitely going to be a guy, you got to keep your eye on in that 20s. Always a contender here, and at Knoxville, this is a place where he'll eat up on the bottom side and not going to make it easy for other guys around him. That 20, man, he makes it quite difficult to get around him in the most clean way possible. Truthfully, it's pretty amazing seeing those guys race as hard as they do. And I clicked away. I thought that was B10. That was Andy Patton there, who was keeping up with Blake in the 87. So the General ready to play here tonight. Only 10 guys in the session, with it being Thanksgiving. If you're out there watching, happy holidays. Not too sure how many people, we're going to get here tonight and tomorrow night, but we will be racing on the Coast2Coast Racing Network, so if you need your racing fix, this is for sure the place to get it. So we'll watch B-Temp ride around here a little bit. Let's see here. Got a little GoPro camera here. Let's see the track. I mean, you can see him compress, and I tried to take a lot of the bump out of this camera so you can kind of watch the shock. I mean, those drivers, now for sure you see that thing compress there after he hits the berm. I mean, he felt that one. But right now, guys, the gyro cam rotates a little more. I don't want to rotate back and forth. You can see, I mean, they're bouncing around. It's not much of a physical thing here on iRacing, obviously, because we are on the PC, but some of these guys, they got some nice wheels. You're feeling that stuff. Can't sleep on how shaky that can actually get. It's not easy to just rip around and hold on to that thing with a smaller field. That might be what they have to do tonight too. Longer green flag runs, I think. The 360, you have a little more forgiveness here in the first one, but our second feature of the evening here, when we hop in the 410s, you got to get ready to drop the hammer. Things happen so fast. One mistake in front of you can really end your night and write you off. Here as the 4 goes around. Still got B-Temp out there ripping around. He's not too sure how long we'll run this thing for practice. Probably still trying to grab a couple more drivers. Some, like I say, some people went to join, I'd imagine, and saw, hey, where's the session at? And like I say, iRacing did a little magic act on us, but Jeff's able to recreate it. We're back, but Brian Moore Jr. rolling in here, so we are able to get one more. You're not going to see him on the timing sheet yet. Has yet to put in a lap, but Brian Moore is making his way into the session. Nobody on the track in either session right now. You see they're just all sitting on pit road being patient, but racing's coming here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and once again, it's because of Flatline Racing Bodies. Huge shout out to you guys. Once again, such an integral part of the Coast to Coast Racing League, and couldn't do it without you. And, well, you know, I was going to do this here at the end, but, I mean, why wait? Bill Calder's a man who doesn't deserve to wait. Bill, saw the message there you posted about an hour ago. That's awesome. You're starting to get a little bit better. Well, we want you back 100%, man, so don't give up. Keep kicking A in there and keep that head down, Bill. We love you here, and we want you to get back healthy, my man. As you see that checkered flag waves and going to get ready to roll into qualifying here. It looks like B-Temp is the first car off of pit road. Let's see what that 31 machine can do. Going to rip that outside through 3 and 4, get as much speed as he can coming to this opening lap. And B-Temp going to send it right down to the basement. Some guys like to run that high side here the opening lap, but he's going to throw that slider actually. Slides up, grabs that cushion, and right now looking pretty good for the 31. Is have to see what that time looks like. 15:76. I think you could maybe get to the 15:05s right now. Possibly not. Randy Shreves with a 15:76 as well. Let's watch him for lap number 2. Randy Shreves looking good. Real smooth through 3 and 4. Brandon Templeton runs a 15:70. Randy Shreves can improve. Shaggy, excuse me there. Trying to get an overlay to work. There we go. As Blake Chapman takes P1 with a 15.65. He says, Shaggy, I can't get down to the 5s, but how about a 15.6? My long-lost cousin steals the pole, but can Junior do anything about it as Brian Moore rolls down the front stretch? First lap P7, basically identical with the 5:58 is his father. Can he improve on lap number 2, or is he going to stay behind the old man? He rolls out of 4. Brian Moore Jr. not going to improve, going to stay P7. That is going to do it for qualifying, and we are going to get ready to roll into heat race number 1. Starting on the pole in the 09, Brian Moore Jr. Into his outside in the 87, the General, Andy Patton. Inside of row number 2 in the 56, Randy Shreves. Into his outside in the 20 machine, the Salesman, Blake Chapman. Inside of row number 3, rounding out the field, the 4 of Greg Parmalee. Into his outside in the 88, Soupy Dan McLaren. Dan did not put in a qualifying time, not too sure if he's here and is going to run this one with us, but obviously, you know, if Dan is here, we want him. You know, we want him in here, but have to see what's going on. Man, oh man, SDK, why do we want to double up in heat race number 1? Shaggy doesn't understand. Gonna get it back on your end. Now we're gonna try to get it back on the broadcaster's end here. Let me slap this up, do a little reload as Brian Moore Jr. brings us down the backstretch. Gonna get ready to go play here at the Knoxville Raceway. As the pace car rolls through 3 and 4, it's going to pull off. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 6 laps to play at the Knoxville Raceway. As we roll down the straightaway, Shaggy forgot how long they wait to drop the hammer. And here we go. Can Blake Chapman make an early move to the high side? Or do you want to be on the bottom? Let's see what the kid can do. Andy Patton with a good run upstairs. He takes the lead early as they enter into 3. Brian Moore Jr. thinking about a big send, but he can't stick that right rear up there just yet. Brian Moore trying to rip the inside, but looks like that middle's where you want to be as the two high side prevail. Blake Chapman to P2. He's looking downstairs under the general. We're 2 wide through 3 and 4. Advantage 87 as we cross the line. Battle for third. The 56 of Randy Shreves tries to take a peek, but no room. Got to tuck back up. And Brian Moore Jr. thinking about making a run here at the Salesman, but Blake put the work boots on here this evening. Got a big run on the general. He's going to go low and protect. This could work out for Blake. He's going to get a big run out of 2. Can he look low? Not just yet, but the general's going to protect one more time. Blake just crawling in the grass, man. Just stalking him on his belly. Going to get a good run here off the top again, and you got to think it's only a matter of time before this 20 tries to throw a move, but he's going to be patient. Patience is the key here. Long laps at the Knoxville Raceway, and with that said, one more to go. Can the Salesman get around as Randy Shreves throws a move for P3, but we keep our eyes on the lead. Final time through 3 and 4. Blake goes downstairs. The general shuts the door. Final time coming to the line. Blake Chapman steals heat race number 1 from Andy Patton. Randy Shreves P3, Brian Moore Jr. 4th, Greg Parmley and Dan McLaren round out heat race number 1. Man, that was a good one. Blake Chapman coming out of nowhere. Trying to sell you guys some popcorn later, as that's what the Salesman does best. Starting grid for heat race number 2. To the inside of row number 1, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Into his outside in the 558, Brian Moore Sr. Inside of row number 2, we call him the mayor, Steve Bixler in the 75. And to his outside in the 31, B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Rounding out the field all by his lonesome in row number 3 in the 513. My road racing teammate sometimes in some 24-hour events. The Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. As we get ready to roll around here, heat race number 2, your final heat for the 360s. Then we'll take a short break during warm-ups and roll into the first feature. Track's not as racy as they'd like it yet, so hopefully the boys get out there and warm-ups, beat it up as the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 6 laps to play in the clay at Knoxville Raceway as the 7 drops the hammer and we're under green. Bob DeGood, not as good of a jump, though, as he'd like. Brian Moore Sr. says, chug-a-lug on the high side. Big run, got the smoke rolling out of the 558. B-Temp trying to make a groove upstairs, but the mayor thought about feeding him the right rear. Now he's going to leave him a little strip going down the front stretch. B-Temp gets a little tight on entry, and now all of a sudden, the Brewerton Beast there in the 531. Close enough to strike, but man, that 31, you don't expect him to be back here. That's a car you expect to be towards the front. Brandon Templeton struggling here early, almost gets into the side of the 75. No harm, no foul, they race on. As you see here, guys pretty much in a line the whole way around the racetrack. Not much passing going on. As the Brewerton Beast sends it in down low, he tightens up. He's got to crack the throttle, almost gets into Brandon as they cross the strike. 2 more trips around. Oh, couldn't tell who that was who got in that outside wall. That's B-Temp on the lid. Barker involved, but he gets to keep rolling. No caution in the heat races. White flag waves. Battle for P2. Bob DeGood trying to play some defense as the mayor tries to take him to school, but he's running out of time here. Gonna peak. No, he's gonna stay up high. The mayor's content here with P3 as we roll around. Checkered flag waves. Heat race number 2 is won by Brian Moore Sr. Bob DeGood P2, Bixler 3rd, Barker 4th, and B-Temp rounding out the field. This heat race number 2 comes to a close. We're going to get ready to take a break here on the Coast2Coast Racing Network, and we will be right back after your warm-up action. Stick around. We are back on the Coast2Coast Racing Network. A little over 50, now 45 seconds left here in warm-ups at the Knoxville Raceway. I'm Zach Chapman, a.k.a. Shaggy, here with Shaggy TV. And all of this wonderful broadcasting was brought to you by Flatline Racing Bodies here this evening. Couldn't do Hometown Heroes without the boys at Flatline Racing Bodies. For that, we are forever grateful, as right now the salesman Blake Chapman, the quickest in warm-ups, right behind him. The 56 of Randy Shreves. Going to be a heck of a battle tonight here at the Knoxville Raceway. Sorry there, Shaggy was holding back a hiccup. Voice is back to normal. I think we're solid. Let's see what the salesman's doing out here. Right now, running down the backstretch, bouncing his way through 3 and 4. Well, the session's going to come to a close here. We're going to take a look at tonight's starting lineup for your 360 feature event at the Knoxville Raceway. And that's going to look a little something like this. Starting on the pole, the salesman in the 20, Blake Chapman into his outside in the 558, Brian Moore Sr. Inside of row number 2, the general, Andy Patton in the 87, and to his outside in the 7 machine, Bob DeGood. Randy Shreves takes the inside of row number 3, and to his outside, the mayor, Steve Bixler. Inside of row number 4, the 09 of Brian Moore Jr., and to his outside in that 513, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Inside of row number 5 in the 4 machine, Greg Parmley, and to his outside, B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. And you see the 88 of Soupy, Dan McLaren. He's going to get a no-call, no-show this evening. No grid for Soupy. We're going to do this show without him as Blake Chapman rolls around up front. Just pacing himself in that Crate Sim Racing Galen's popcorn machine, but the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at Knoxville Raceway. Your 360 main event is underway. Blake Chapman keeping that left rear right down there in that little strip, trying to run side by side, but big contact back in the back. The 7 of Bob DeGood rolls early. Let's go back. Let's see if we can take a look here at this. See what happened with Bob. As you're going to see this Valvoline machine. Let's take a look here. It's beside Randy Shreves right now. And not seeing any contact yet. Not yet, but it's coming, I think. Oh, Randy got into the back of Andy Patton. That sends Bob for a wild ride. Hits the outside wall. Not able to, or no, was able to land on all fours. Steve Bixler involved as well there in the 75, damaged right front. He's going to have to come in and pit. Well, that's going to be a tough start here to Knoxville for a few of those drivers. And Dan McLaren was here. He'd be able to hop right back in and gain 2 spots, but Soupy taking the night off here apparently at Knoxville. So if we have I know the kid's a good sport. If we have another early caution, I try not to do that to guys in dirt racing as much, but I say Blake's arguably one of the most fun guys here in the league. Always got a good attitude. If we have another early caution, we're going to pull the kid up. See what the game plan is here for the night. Is barring a big mistake here. Oh, dude, Shaggy forgot to make his pick. Blake Chapman on the front row. I'm taking Blake right now. Sorry, long lost Aunt Gretchen. If I bring him any bad luck here, but we got to pick Blake for this thing. I mean, what kind of guy would I be? As the pace car pulls off, that 20 gets ready to drop the hammer, And we're back ready to play at the Knoxville Raceway. Can the kid hold on, or can Brian Moore Sr. find a way around in the 558? Battle on the Brewerton Beast. Jeff Barker to the inside here. Steve Bixler gets a little loose in the back. But Jeff Barker, one of those guys who loves to rip that inside, and he's going to save up that right rear here for those last couple laps just in case he needs it. But for now, Jeff Barker just kind of had to forfeit that on the bottom. Couldn't get the run. Blake showing maybe you can run the bottom on entry, but you want to float up into the fluff. Carry all that speed is the general Andy Patton. He's got a rear view mirror full of B-Temp and Brian Moore Jr. as B-Temp working the bottom through 3 and 4. Look at him down there fixing up the leaks in the basement. Slides up in front of the general, makes that thing real wide. Gonna throw that slider one more time in 3 and 4. Float up, protect Brian Moore Jr. And now he says, see you, kid, I'm gonna go to work on the old man. And the general gets by Brian Moore Jr. here too. The general came to play. There goes the 56. Randy Shreves, man, Brian Moore Jr. He needs to get out of that hiccup. Tough lap or two there for that 09. And, man, he's going to wish he could find that genie in the bottle. Wish that thing all away. But right now, he's got 19 more laps to figure it out as B-Temp sends it into the basement here in 3 and 4. Trying to find that grip. Gets a little sideways in the middle of the corner. Well, kind of has to give up on that thing is tied on right up here under the wing. Let's see how close he can get. As you see, he drives it in deep. But now, center off. I mean, that's where Brian Moore Sr., you see, that's where the advantage is. You're up in the fluff. You're not necessarily hammering that throttle as hard as Brandon is because you've got the grip. You're just staying smooth up top. And that's what it's all about here at the Knoxville Raceway. The battle heats up for P4. Randy Shreves looking to the outside. The boys thought about 3 wide. Here goes Junior trying to get back into this thing. Brian Moore Jr. floats up over the cushion in 1 and 2. He's got to wrangle that thing in as the general gets into the outside wall, touches that right rear, but survives for now. Brandon Templeton, you got to get that 31 machine rolling as that 56 of Randy Shreves. He is going to be hungry and not going to be patient. That's not necessarily in that 56's vocabulary here. As you see, he's going to get a big run. Brandon goes down and protects. Randy floats up there, runs the short move. Can he get to the outside of B-Temp? They're side by side. Randy Shreves pinches him down, drives it in, floats up, and Randy Shreves to the bottom step of the podium with 13 laps to go. Blake Chapman, smooth as silk out front, man. The kid's got it up to over a second, 1.25 here in the middle of 3 and 4. As Senior tries to recollect some of that on the top shelf, but gonna have some company here soon. 12 laps is plenty of time for Randy to go work on P2. Not sure if he's gonna have enough time to get to the salesman out front. When you factor in this battle, you think, I mean, he's got to make up over a 10th a lap on the kid, and I just don't see it being done. Let's hop on Brian Moore here just for a second. We'll show you the top 3. Now, Randy Shreves, 2 out of the last 5. You see, he's been the fastest car on the racetrack. See what it looks like this time by Blake with that 607. Both drivers quicker than Blake the last time around. So we're going to keep this up one more time here. Shaggy's kind of invested in this. Let's see what it looks at this go around. Man, it's nice to see Chapman with the fastest lap. When your boy Shaggy races, he doesn't get to see that often. So a man can dream here as Blake rolls out of 3 and 4, 8 more trips around the Knoxville Raceway. Randy's been able to get to the back of Brian Moore as B-Temp gets into the outside wall. He rolls over, and we're under caution at the Knoxville Raceway here for the second time. So let's see here. He gets into the front stretch wall. Not sure. Oh, yeah, right front's already broke. Wow, he's going to missile this thing right into the wall here in front of us. Oh, no. And, man, they going to have some work to do there in that 31. Now that Shaggy knows we got a good view here, we're going to slam this on full speed just so you can see how quick it actually happens. There's the wall tap. He doesn't know that right front's broken. Boom, no time to slow down for that 31. Hard into the outside wall. And he's got to go on that long adventure back to pit road. He's just now able to get there. As you see, uses the magic quick repair. He'll be able to get back out there on the racetrack. But E-Temp going to have to make up all that ground. Was up there battling in the top 5. And all of a sudden, all gone for the 31. As the lights are still on the pace car, but they should go off here. I'd imagine this time around is Blake Chapman, the man from Clarence, Iowa. He's got 7 laps between him and another checkered flag here in the 360s. You know that man's hungry for some Galen's homegrown popcorn, and he wants to tell us all about it. You know, with this helmet, I mean, they might have to. Galen's might have to collab with M&M's. I mean, there might be something there. Maybe some M&M's, Galen's. I know that they do put chocolate in them. Trust me, I've had them. I can't eat a lot of those because Shaggy's allergic to chocolate. You know, so you gotta be careful on the chocolate intake. But just advertise them as M&M's. You know, let's make it a luxury item. That's what I'm saying here is. We roll through 3 and 4 for the final time. Blake Chapman set to drop the hammer. 7 laps to play at the Knoxville Raceway. Can he hold on? Brian Moore Sr. Randy Shreves now, too. Remember, he's been able to battle his way up to P3, but kind of stuck behind this yellow jacket. Can he find a way around? Or is he just going to have to bring home P3? I know that's not what he wants. He is not a patient man in this 56 as he looks down low. I can't blame him either. When you're that quick, I mean, how can you be patient trying to find a way around? Goes upstairs. Brian shuts the door. Going to counter down out of 3 and 4. And now he's in there. He's got enough of a car. His short slider going to throw it up in front of Brian. Brian says, no way, I'm going to jump the cushion, stay in the throttle, and drive back around. Big boy move from Brian Moore Sr. Man, oh man, you don't see that often. And Brian Moore able to defend here. That may be exactly what the kid needs up front. There's only 4 more laps to go. Blake Chapman trying to run away with this thing. Has it up to a half second as Brian Moore Sr. throws the defense line. Little short slider, 3 more trips around. Going to go back downstairs here in 1 and 2, playing some more defense. Randy Shreves with a big run here. Not going to look underneath. Going to go straight to that high side. Brian goes up and shuts the door. Here comes the general with 2 laps to go. Can Andy Patton get involved with this thing, or is he a little too far back? There's only 2 more trips around. The kid out front has been golden once again as we roll out of 4. White flag waves one more time around for the kid. The salesman. You're going to get to hear why we call him that in about, well, I mean, we got to interview other drivers, so give him about 4 or 5 minutes. Let him get a water. He rolls out of 3 and 4. Blake Chapman takes home the checkers at Knoxville Raceway, followed by Brian Moore Sr., Randy Shreves, Andy Patton, and Brian Moore Jr. rounds out the top 5. Steve Bixler, Brandon Templeton, Greg Parmalee, Jeff Barker, Bob the Good round out the top 10. And, well, Soupy never made the grid here, but does get credit for showing up. He's going to bring it home P11 as Blake Chapman gets it done in the Krite Sim racing machine once again. And I'm going to give these guys a minute or 2 here to catch their breath. And I'm going to go back and see if we can't. There's that long green flag around here. So we're going to find Randy Shreves here. as it looks like we got him here, Randy. No, he doesn't mess around, man. He knows where the booth is. Gets up here almost every week. Randy, you had a heck of a battle on your hands, man. It just seemed like, you were maybe a little quicker than Brian, but, coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? I mean, track's hard to race right now, and it just doesn't seem like you were able to make that move to get by.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't make that move. I apologize for getting in the back of him. I was expecting him to go back down low like he was doing, and I don't know. He must have realized that I was going to get him up top because that top just came in there at the end, and I think I could have had something for him and possibly maybe even Blake. I'm not sure, but the car felt fast, and it was definitely a hell of a race between me and Senior there.
Yeah, man. That was, the race of the night for sure. But before we got that last caution, I mean, you were running down Blake and Senior a little bit. We were looking at the lap times you were, quicker than Senior most of the time, but you were pretty much rotating with Blake. You guys would go back and forth. But do you think, I mean, just what was the difference? Just not a lot of cars here tonight, just, not getting as much wear in the track as we normally do?
I mean, that could be possible. It's just that top just, I don't know, normally it comes in pretty much there at the end, but I was hoping it would come in a little sooner. I kept trying on the bottom there, but I just couldn't get anything to catch up to him, so I just figured I'd try the top for the last of the race, and, made a good attempt at second, but, I'm still happy to pull off a podium.
Yeah, man, those kind of guys in front of you and the ones behind you got to be happy with it. And I look forward to a lot more here in the 410s from you, Mr. Shreves. But before I kick you out of here, brother, you know the drill, man. Who you got to thank?
For sure, definitely want to thank everybody at Coast to Coast, you, Shaggy, for the broadcast, KSB Builders, Dylan Shreves Designs, everybody for watching. I also want to give a big shout out to Bill Calder, man. We're all praying for you, buddy, and we can't wait for you to get back.
Amen, man. Way to hit that buzzer, Randy. Hopefully everybody else joins in. Bill's such an integral part of the league, man, and we can't wait for him to get back. But like I say, Randy, man, these may not even be your forte. I know you like to play in those 410s, so I look forward to talking to you again, brother.
Yeah, thanks, Shaggy.
Randy Shreves bringing home P3, and now Mr. Wednesday Night himself, man, really turned it on at the end, Brian. Boy, that battle got fun between you and Randy. Talk to us about it.
Well, yeah, I kind of pulled up in front of him there at one time or another, but man, I kind of felt like I had to block him a little bit there, and I usually don't do that, but I did want him to get by me there.
Well, I mean, dude, you can say what you want, Brian, and obviously, okay, there's a little bit of blocking going on, but, I want to highlight, because I did on the broadcast, and, anyone who drives these things know how damn difficult what you did. When Randy threw that slider, and you said, no way, man, and you jumped that cushion and hammered that thing down the backstretch, boy, that's one of the best moves I've seen here in the fixed in a while, and that move, dude, that's what held on to P2 for you. So, Brian, maybe you showed him the bumper a little bit, but you earned this, brother.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, when he threw that slider, I thought, man, he's not going to slide up all the way. So the only way I'm going to get back by him, because I couldn't, it was too late in the corner, I think, to counter him and go underneath him. So I thought, man, if I just get up here and get a good run down that back straightaway, maybe he won't come up all the way and he'll leave me a little room. And he did, so it worked out pretty good.
Yeah, man, and I'd say it worked out pretty good. We got a damn good show here on the broadcast from you two, man.
All right.
That was a lot of fun to watch, Brian. Congratulations. Who you want to thank, my man?
Thank you. I want to thank you, Shaggy, for putting this stuff on and all the work you do in this league and Coast to Coast. I have a lot of fun in this league anymore, and I just appreciate everybody running me as clean as they do and everything. And I got to give a shout out to Bill. I hope he's feeling better, and hope he gets back in here racing with us before too long. And who is it tonight? Flatline Racing Bodies, the sponsor?
Yeah, you finish on the podium enough, Brian. You should have Flatline Racing Bodies almost tattooed on that forehead by now, man. You're up here every week.
I might put it on my car here, man, before too long. There you go. But I want to give a shout out to Rona and my brother Rick, and I think his daughter's in town from Georgia. So I got a shout out to Erica and her family. So and Jairus, I believe he's watching tonight, and I just thank the guys in Discord that run with me every week. Junior and Greg and Devo and them guys.
Well, hey,
But,
Brian.
I'm having fun, man. I love this stuff.
Oh, dude, I can tell, man. You can hear it in your voice. And, well, Shaggy's got to brag here a little bit. I took some time out of my day today to work on some camera packages. And I know some guys don't like hearing their own voice. But gosh dang it, Brian, you go back and you rewatch this interview because, oh, man, the 45 minutes I put in today in camera work, holy crap, was it worth it for this interview shot, watching you and Randy race back and forth, man. That was a great show, and I look forward to a lot more here in the 410s. Good luck, brother.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, man.
And now we're going to bring up the kid who got it done here, Blake Chapman. Blake, maybe not as hard fought as you're used to. Quick qualifier. You did have to race your butt off in the heat race to go from 4th to 1st. We know how hard that is, especially, that track, man. That was not worn in. You really had to go for it. It was a big move at the line, but you set yourself up and you got to stink up the show at Knoxville, kid. How you feel?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I think that heat race was definitely helped me out a lot, being able to start on the pole because this track wasn't as wide as it usually gets when we have the higher car counts. So, on a track that's fast and not and a little bit narrower than we're used to, starting on the pole was a really, really big advantage. And I was able to get that slider line working for me early and move down low in 3 and 4, and that felt comfortable. I stuck with the slider line in 1 and 2 there for the entire race. And I was looking at that top, and I was thinking that it had some grip and it might be the fastest way around, but what I was doing was working just fine, and I was comfortable running it, and we were fortunate enough to come home with a win.
No, yeah, and I mean, well, not that you're too dang good to be looking up in that mirror. I know you're not, but at the end, those two battling hard behind you. All you basically had to do, just put that head down, man. Stay focused, and kid, you do it night in and night out. You did it again here. You brought home another one. Congratulations, my man. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, first I got to shout out Bill Calder. It was great to hear from him on Facebook today, and we're still wishing him a speedy recovery. Of course, I got to thank all the guys at the Christ Sim Racing team, everybody at the Can-Am Racing team, and Steve Bixler down at the Salty Dogs Racing team for letting me join his Discord tonight. Of course, I got to thank Andy at NJ Custom Creations and Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps. Also got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff. You can head over to their website and use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. I got to shout out Flatline Racing Bodies for putting this broadcast on, and you for doing it, Shaggy.
Hey, great run, Blake. You know what this means probably. I think you're bringing home some hardware. Championship week next week. We'll know for sure, but great run tonight, kid.
Thank you.
And I'm going to kick him out of here because I don't need to flatter him too much. He knows I like him, how much I like him. But, there's no scripts here. This is all guys coming up just speaking from the heart there after they've run 25 laps at one of the hardest racetracks on iRacing. And, for the majority of those guys, first thing, they're thinking of you, Bill. If that's real, man, you really do. I know. It's one of those things, man. You probably hear it, and you're probably like, oh, it's just on repeat, dude. You do so much for us, man. You're the grandpa, that some of these guys never had, or replacing. I mean, you're the friend that a lot of guys don't have in need. You're real important to us, Bill. We want you to get better. We want you to get back. We need you out here with us. You're very important, but. That's going to do it here for part 1. Hometown Heroes. Stick around. We're going to take a quick break here, play a video or two, and then we're going to be back with the big boys here at Knoxville Raceway, busting out the 410s for part 2 of Flatline Racing Bodies Hometown Heroes on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Stick around.
it's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Gets on the champion, trying to be a
bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight when we talked about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We are back live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network for part 2 at Knoxville Raceway, presented by Flatline Racing Bodies. I talked to you guys about it earlier. It's just an 8-point margin between Brian Moore Sr. and Blake Chapman, as I don't believe drop weeks are in effect yet. So, boy, oh boy, man, the kid really stole the show this year here. Galen, so I don't know what they give, how much popcorn they give the salesman, but whatever it is, it's not enough. As talking about him week in and week out, multiple times a week here. Code CART, 15% off. Got me doing it even. I mean, geez, look at him. I mean, checkered flag waves on the warm-ups, and we get ready to roll into our final qualifying session of the night. Sorry if you did hear a loud gasp. If not, I'm ratting myself out. I think my wife is having fun playing Call of Duty back in her room, so my apologies. Man, B-Temp. Every single time B-Temp is that first car out for qualifying. Never fails, Mr. Templeton is... And on that top shelf through 3 and 4, just like we saw in the opening lap of the 360s. Now he's going to stay upstairs. Likes all the motor this thing has. Wants to keep it wound up. Keep that thing pegged. Keep it screaming. Brandon Templeton rips that middle cushion on entry, but just finds that tack down there towards the bottom on exit. Now 1 and 2, lap number 2. He's going to throw the slider, do it a little different. 15.25 for the opener. Current quick time is the 31 of Brandon Templeton with that 15.25 as he rolls around. I think we're going to see an improvement here. No, we don't, but that's who we get one from. And we did see an improvement from Templeton. He ran a 2 flat. I thought so. But Blake Chapman, man, oh man, he wants to make it hard on himself again. Top 4 inverted in qualifying. Going into the features, and the kid, another pole, gets a little quicker on lap number 2 by a couple hundredths of a second. And extend that gap that much further as Brian Moore Jr., your final qualifier, gets into the front stretch wall, and this lap isn't going to count. Brian Moore Jr. going to have to stay with P7. But 7 and 8, 2 heat races, they're going to be the inverts, so that may be the money spot. Brian Moore Jr. may be a little disappointed, but once he thinks about this and is logical about it, may turn out to be a gift there for the 09 car. As we wrap up qualifying, Blake Chapman takes the pole. Brandon Templeton, Randy Shreves, your top 3 is... Let's take a look here at that starting grid for heat race number 1. Starting on the pole in the 09, Brian Moore Jr. into his outside in the 75, the mayor, Steve Bixler. Inside of row number 2 in the 56, Randy Shreves. And his outside, the salesman, Blake Chapman. Rounding out the field all by himself there in row number 3 in the 7, we've got Bob DeGood. As we get ready to go play here at Knoxville Raceway. 6 laps to figure it out. Whoever wins heat race number 1 will be starting on the pole for the feature. You saw how it worked out for Blake Chapman. Definitely a huge benefit there to start up front in the feature. Going to be even harder to pass here in this feature, I think. Less practice time on the track. Track not going to wear as much, so got to get them while you can. Got to make it hard for the guys around you at the same time as the Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off. You see that green flag is high. Boy, is she ready to fly. Brian Moore Jr. drops the hammer, and we're underway at Knoxville. Blake Chapman trying to step up on that cushion. Oh, Steve Bixler gets the door shut on him. He goes downstairs. He slides up. Blake going to counter underneath. Blake takes over P3. Steven Bixler goes from 3rd to 5th here in a hurry as Bob DeGood looks downstairs. Able to slide up and complete the pass as Blake Chapman has his eyes set on P2. How can he get around the 56 of Randy Shreves? You saw he clearly got a quick car at the time there in qualifying, but man, oh man, you run out of room. You can't float up in front of the guys in front of you. Gonna have to figure out a way to make it stick on a line that isn't necessarily comfortable for that 20. And boy, oh boy, that's what he does. P2 at the line goes to the salesman, is along with the fastest lap of heat race number 1 of 15.27. Man, oh man, the kid's turning it on. Bottom through 3 and 4 takes the lead as we cross the start-finish line. 2 laps to go. Blake Chapman looking for a repeat here from the 360s. There's battle heating up for P2. Randy Shreves, he got the blueprint from Blake. Can he follow his way around? He sees that white flag wave one more time around. Blake Chapman started fourth, man. Drove his way up to first once again on a fresh track. Can't emphasize how hard that is to do, and he brings home the checkered in heat race number 1 once again. Brian Moore, P2. Shreves, P3. DeGood, fourth. And Steven Bixler rounds out heat race number 1. Starting grid for heat race number 2. Starting on the pole in the 5:58, Brian Moore Sr. It is outside in the 87, the General, Andy Patton. Inside of row number 2, the Brewerton Beast in the 5:13, Jeffrey Barker. And his dancing partner on the high side, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Rounding out your field in your second and final heat race this evening, Greg Parmalee in the 4. Let's see here. Greg Parmalee didn't make the grid, so only 4 guys here in heat race number 2. And that just means if you make a mistake, it's going to be magnified that much more here. We're going to try to refresh the overlay since it wants to double stack. Shaggy's apologies. We're going to try to get it on my end as well. We do, and you see that green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 2 underway as Brian Moore Sr. drops the hammer. We'll slide up in front of the General, no problem. Andy Patton doesn't want to let Brian run away too far. Wants to stay close because if he leaves a big enough gap, whoa, never mind. B-Temp contact with Andy Patton. Goes around, collects the Brewerton Beast. And just like that, 2-car race to the finish. Go pop your popcorn. Get ready for the feature here. You're looking at your top 2 here in the finishing order. Let's see if Andy Patton can find a way around Brian Moore. Man, just don't wreck each other, boys, because I've never run into that problem. I don't know what would happen. I'm guessing it would eventually time out, but let's not figure it out here. Let's see if the General can find his way on by clean or if we can bring this thing home as we roll through 3 and 4. 2 fingers in the air, 2 more trips around Knoxville. If Senior can get heat race number 2 done, if he can bring home the checkered flag, we'll have the top 2 in the points starting on the front row, and well, that's what Brian needs to do. He just needs to make sure he's smooth here as we roll around. You take it easy. You don't run this thing too hard. You keep it on the bottom through 3 and 4. You watch that checkered flag wave and you bring it home. The General brings home P2. Brandon Templeton, Jeff Barker, and Greg Parmalee round out the field. We're going to take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and we will be right back with a little bit of warm-ups and your final feature of the evening here on Flatline Racing Body's Hometown Heroes. Stick around. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. A little over 40 seconds left here in warm-ups at the Knoxville Raceway. We get set to go play for 25 laps in the clay. And should be no surprise to anyone who tunes in on a regular basis, man. This kid at the top of the charts in the 20 machine by a tenth of a second here at Knoxville. Looks to put a stamp on this thing. If this thing stays green, don't be surprised if we have a 1.5, possibly 2 second win here, unless the kid's being humble. This is his domain, man. All this tack left on the bottom, all that power in the 410, and if anybody gonna bring this home, it's gonna be the kid once again. That's Shaggy's pick here for your final feature of the evening, but can't sleep on Randy Shreves in the 56. He's good as heck in these 410s too. You heard me talk about it in his interview. These are something he definitely messes around with on an official race level, and Randy Shreves, a top dog in a wing sprint car as well. As you get ready to take a look at tonight's starting grid here for your final feature of the night for your Flatline Racing Bodies Hometown Heroes 410 feature event. The salesman, Blake Chapman, lines up to the inside of row number 1 and is outside in the 558. That's the old-timer, Brian Moore Sr. And to the inside of row number 2, we got his son there. That's Brian Moore Jr. in the 09. It is outside of row number 2 in the 87, the General Andy Patton. Row number 3 to the inside is the 56 of Randy Shreves, and to the outside, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Instead of row number 4, the 7 of Bob DeGood. It is outside his teammate in the 513, Jeff Barker. The mayor, Steve Bixler, lines up to the inside of row number 5, and Greg Parmley to the 4 on the outside, but I believe another no call from Greg, is only 9 cars here in your feature tonight. Still 9 of the best here we have in Coast to Coast. And Blake Chapman looking to walk away from the fall season here is a winged sweep here in the Hometown Heroes. If he has a good race here, all but I imagine locks up the championship as Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay as the salesman leads us to the green flag. Oh, hard contact in the back. That's Steve Bixler. No caution yet here at Knoxville. I don't know if we're going to get one. He rolls that thing to the inside. No caution. Leader's coming on by. Steve's going to have to make sure to keep that thing downstairs. Does a great job of doing that, but man, oh man, just like that, down to 8 guys, and Steve Bixler's going to wonder what could have been. Andy Patton feeling the heat from behind. Randy Shreves trying to find a way to get on by here, get on that final step of the podium. Because if he can get to P3, I mean, you're looking at your top 3 running order from the 360s. Randy definitely not gonna go away here. He's gonna make Andy work his behind off, but that's something the General Andy Patton very familiar with. That guy knows how to wheel a sprint car, and he ain't gonna go down easy here as he rolls off a 2. Good run, but man, a much better run here for the 56 as he closes in even closer. Cue the Jaws music for Randy Shreves. How long till he strikes? Closer and closer and closer. You watch him not really reel him in there down the backstretch. Drives it in a little deeper into 3 and 4. Andy jumps that cushion a little bit. Randy's right there. Not close enough to throw that slider, though. Still thinks about it. Floats up behind. But now, advantage 87 off of 2. You watched him pull away. Blake Chapman making Shaggy look like he knows something. 1.3 seconds out front. I told you, 2.5 seconds by the time this thing is over. If it stays green, I know these drivers. I may know a little something. And, well, Shaggy here, looking at Brian Moore Sr. I know Brian's going to fight tooth and nail here to hold on to P2. He's not going to give this thing up. So Randy Shreves, if he's going to get one of them here, he better try and get both of them quick because they're both going to claw back. Randy experienced that firsthand there in the 360s. He was by Brian for a short amount of time, but then put the power move on that high side. Earned that middle podium spot, but as we're running around here, 15 laps to go. Guys may be thinking they're running out of time, but 15 seconds a lap here. You got plenty of time. Guys will make mistakes. You just got to make sure you're there to capitalize when they do. It's Jeff Barker running around here all by his lonesome. Brian Moore Jr. as well. They were involved earlier in that little scrape up, but no caution came out, so huge gap to the cars in front, and they just got to ride around. We're watching second, third, and fourth. This is where the action is. Blake Chapman saying, Shaggy, you didn't spot me enough, man. Already up to 2.5 seconds out front. 13 laps to go. The kid may think about, pulling off, pouring himself a glass of tea or whatever he likes as the Andy Patton makes a mistake in the middle of 1 and 2, and Randy Shreves right there to capitalize. He moves up into that final podium spot. He's got to put his head down, got to try to suck up onto that 558 as he's basically running into tire tracks, just trying to do it a little better than Brian is, and easier said than done. That's not going to be an easy thing to do if you're the 56. Oh, but Brian Moore bounces it off the wall. Here you're going to see Randy floated in. Short slider, likes that, going up and gripping the cushion. That's what he thinks quick right now for the 56. Let's see if the lap times agree with him. So you can see Blake's been the quicker guy, but Randy has been. Oh, he gets into Brandon Templeton. A lap car hard into the wall in 1 and 2. He's on the lid. We just now get the caution right as Jeff Barker was coming around. Man, oh man. Let's see what happened here. Yeah, Randy just barely clips him after Brandon got loose and I think was trying to get out of the way. Randy caught him too quick, ran over him, and man, oh man, wild, wild ride there for B-Temp. Let's watch it at full speed here. Man, oh man. Not Hanukkah for another month here, Brandon. You got a little bit, but I do like the top impression. Just the wrong month for it. We're still thinking about Thanksgiving, but I do appreciate the early holiday attempt here. Shaggy's already got the lights up on the house. I don't know about how many of you guys do that. First one on the street, proud of it. I don't mess around with those Christmas lights. Grandma's already on too. I've been the designated grandma Christmas decorator here for probably about 20 years and counting. It's been ever since Shaggy was a teenager. Somehow it got dropped on me. Don't know how, but it's stuck and kind of enjoy it. I act like Scrooge to everyone else. The family thinks I hate it, so don't let them in on the fact that I do actually enjoy it, and the compliments make me possibly feel warm and fuzzy inside. That's our secret here tonight on the Coast2Coast Racing Network, and I'll let you in on another little secret here. Lights are off on the Steve King Foundation pace truck. We're going to get ready to go play here once again at Knoxville Raceway. Should be 7 laps to go, and Blake drops the hammer and crosses that charity stripe as the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Back underway at the Knoxville Raceway. Now we'll see if Blake can get that up to maybe 2.5 seconds. That's going to be a heck of a challenge. Only got 7 laps to do it. But I think he's going to have a little help due to the fact that Randy Shreves, boy, he is hungry. He's going to be coming at this 5:58. Can Brian Moore weather the storm? Or can Randy Shreves find a way around? Let's hop here under the front nose wing. Both of them keeping pace here with your leader, Blake Chapman, who may gotten a little too comfortable down there in the basement. Maybe, thinking with that big lead he had that it was a little faster than it is, and may have to go upstairs and protect. But that kid, I'll tell you, he keeps that head down, he keeps it forward. He does not look up in that mirror. I say it all the time. Not worried about what you're doing, he's worried about what he's doing, and that's why he wins so many dang races here as they come out of 3 and 4, 3 more laps to go for the salesman. Can Blake Chapman hold on, or can Brian Moore Sr. or Randy Shreves possibly come up here and steal this thing as we roll through 3 and 4? 2 fingers in the air, 2 more trips around. Brian Moore so close he can taste it. It's going to hurt if he can't get up there and try to at least make one move. As we roll through 3 and 4, that white flag waves, 1 more trip around. Blake looking to go 2 for 2, looking to tell you guys about some popcorn. Final time through 3 and 4. Blake Chapman sees that checkered flag waving, and he's going to bring it home. 2 for 2 on Flatline Racing Bodies. Hometown heroes here at the Knoxville Raceway, followed by Brian Moore Sr. and Randy Shreves once again. Double podiums here tonight for the boys, and the General brings home P4. Bob DeGood rounds out the top 5. Brian Moore Jr. 6th, Jeff Barker 7th, B-Temp 8th, Steve Bixler 9th, and Greg Parmalee rounding out the field. But the kid, man, oh man, the kid, what can you say? Gets it done one more time at the Knoxville Raceway. So let's see here if we can find Randy Shreves. He always beats me to the Discord. Let's see if I beat him. I'll tell you what, I did. I'm looking at it right now. I don't care what he says. I beat him to the Discord for the first time. Going to give him a minute or two to catch his breath, and then we're going to pull him up here. Here is the man in the 56, Randy Shreves. 2 podiums tonight, my man. I know it's not the step you wanted, but still, you got to look at the bright side. 2 good races here at the Knoxville Raceway on tracks that, man, were still really hard to pass on.
Yeah, it was definitely a hard track to pass on. I wish that top side would have came in a little better again. But, like you said, happy to be on the podium. Sucks that it's the same result as last time, but we'll keep plugging away, and hopefully next week will be a little better for us.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, Randy, just kind of is what it is, man. Holiday week here in the States, not getting a lot of guys, so track wear is so important here at Knoxville. We talk about it every time we come here, and just not able to really progress to build up that cushion. But it did look like, like you said, a little too late, but started to come in at the end. You guys hung with Blake there at the end, but just ran out of laps, it seemed like.
Yeah, definitely ran out of laps. It was still a fun race either way. Definitely had my adrenaline pumping the whole time, so can't ask for more than that.
No, you can't, man. Able to bring home 2 podiums here in the wing sprints tonight. Congratulations, brother. Who you want to thank?
As always, Coast to Coast for putting on this league. You, Shaggy, for the broadcast, KSB Builders, Dylan Shoes Designs, Flatline Racing Bodies, and everybody for watching.
All right, Randy, gun to your head, brother. Tomorrow at Thanksgiving, you can only have one thing, dude. One thing. What is it?
Turkey for sure.
Okay. All right, you're a turkey guy. See, I'm one of the weirdos, man. My grandma makes something called salmon cakes, and they are my holiday tradition, so that's my thing. But got to respect the turkey. Congratulations here on another podium, Randy.
Thanks, Zach. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too, brother. That's Randy Shreves, double podium. And now we're bringing up Mr. Wednesday night for another one. Brian made this a little easier on yourself there. One heat race number 2, and it seemed like there at the end, the top started to come in. You guys were hanging with Blake after the restart, but man, maybe 5 laps or so too short.
Yeah, I don't know. He was sure making that bottom in 3 and 4 work for him, and I tried it a time or two, but man, I just can't get through the bottom like he was, and I stuck it to the top a couple of times, and it seemed like I was getting a good run on him coming down the front straightaway, and then I could throw a slider in 1 and 2 and kind of hung with him there the last few laps after that restart. But yeah, it would have took him making a mistake or something before I'd have got by him. But hats off to him, man, on a good run tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be what that kid does, right? Mr. Consistency down there. It seems like the only way you can get by him is if, you got a quicker car. That kid doesn't make many mistakes, and tonight at Knoxville, it just proved to be too much. But Brian, 2 podiums, man, 2 P2s. That's something to hang your hat on, brother. Congratulations. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I can't argue about that. Thank you again for putting this broadcast on, and Coast to Coast for letting us race with him, and Flatline Racing Buddies. And then I gotta give a shout out to Erica and her family in town. I don't know if Matt made it in town or not, but I'm glad they're in town for Thanksgiving. And my brother Rick and Rona and the guys in Discord. Tonight it's just Greg and Junior, so we're having fun.
Yeah, man. It seemed like you were having fun out there. And well, Brian, if I get a little quiet here, I'm trying to fight off a sneeze. So that's why I was getting a little quiet. But all right, so you walk into Thanksgiving tomorrow, man. Gun to your head. You only get one thing on that plate. That's it. What is it? What do you need at Thanksgiving?
I'm gonna go with the turkey breast, the white meat.
Okay.
My
all right,
favorite.
man.
Yeah,
That's
love it.
you and Randy 2 for 2 on the turkeys. But congratulations, Brian. Good run, man. And I look forward to talking to you again next week, championship week. Good luck.
All right. Thanks, Shaggy.
2 for 2. The kid gets it done again, Blake. I sold you short. I told the broadcast, I said, if this thing stays green, you're going to win by 2.5 seconds. Well, that caution comes out. You had the lead by 3.5. So I'm sorry for, not giving you as much as you deserved. But coming down to the end, man, they hung with you on that restart. I don't know how much you were looking at that relative. Do you think it was getting close to time to move up and, maybe we just missed the track transition? What'd the car feel like at the end?
Yeah, definitely. I felt like it was going away in 1 and 2 in the early parts of the corner. The entry was getting tougher, and just I had to stay out of the gas for a little bit longer, but there was enough grip coming off of 2 that I could stay down there and keep pace with them. And 3 and 4, there was still a lot of grip down there, so I was able to hit that consistently and drive away from them, which is really what kept me in the lead, for those last couple of laps there. But yeah, a couple more laps definitely would have to move up in 1 and 2, probably start running a slider line there. But fortunately, we were able to just stay out in front and keep a good pace and win this thing.
Well, Blake, you're able to do that once again. I don't know what it is about Knoxville, but something, man. You and Patrick, you're so good here. What is it? I mean, it's got those awkward berms, but you guys get so close, man. You almost reach out and touch those things. I mean, how do you get so comfortable? Is it the laps? Is it just, you like the layout of the track? What is it about Knoxville?
Yeah, I'd honestly just love running the bottom at this track. When I'm up top, it can get a little shaky sometimes. I know the Patrick's the best at that, but if there's grip on the bottom at Knoxville, I'm going to be fast. I'm just going to be able to find it and hit it and go. And it was fast tonight, and you saw the results. So I think that just comes with time. I've practiced a lot here. I think this was the first ever track I ran on the sim. So laps here definitely helps, and I've been able to hit the bottom consistently for a while now. And fortunately, the bottom was there tonight. We were able to come home with a couple wins.
Yeah, man, 2 for 2 tonight. Way to steal the show here. Congratulations, brother. Who you want to thank before I kick you out of here?
Yeah, I got to thank the family for watching. I got to thank all the guys out of the Kreitz Sim Racing team and the Can-Am Racing team. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and AJ Custom Creations. Of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. The holiday season's coming up, and nothing makes a better present than some Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. You can head over to their website, and don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off. And I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on, Shaggy.
Well, hey, I appreciate it, kid. But before you get out of here, one more question, man. You walk into Thanksgiving tomorrow, okay? You got a gun to your head. You can only put one thing on that plate. What do you got to eat tomorrow? What's Blake's favorite thing on Thanksgiving?
Whatever's for dessert. Whatever the dessert is, whether it's cookie, pie, whatever, that's what I've got to go with.
All right, man. You're a dessert guy. I dig it. That's hence all the popcorn sponsorships. Makes a lot of sense, Blake. I'm starting to figure you out, kid. Congratulations. Great run. 2 for 2, man. Way to hang your hat tonight. I hope you and the family have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I can't wait to talk to you more next week.
Yeah, thanks, Shaggy. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving, too.
Appreciate it, man. And that's your winner here. The most polite kid we've ever had in Victory Lane steals the show here. And I can tell you what, in my younger days, I'm going to flaunt that one, but not him. Real modest, brings it home, 2 for 2. Don't get no better than that, doing it in the wings here in the Coast2Coast Racing League. And speaking of the Coast2Coast Racing League, we got a show for you tomorrow night, too. Even though it's Thanksgiving, the boys are still going to get out and play in the 358s in the big block. So make sure you tune in here on the Coast2Coast Racing Network around 7 Eastern. Marty Sakala's on the call. And then we got championship week next week. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't miss a show here on the Coast2Coast Racing Network. On behalf of all the admins, Roger Craig, and everyone behind the scenes, I'm Zach Chapman at Shaggy TV, signing off. Have a great Thanksgiving. And if you haven't eaten salmon cakes, get your grandma to make you some. They're delicious. Have a good evening.